Hi everyone, it's Nick from Finance.Vote, and I want to take this opportunity here at Defi Summit to tell you a bit of a story about the evolution of crypto, where I think it's going to go next, and how I think the community at Finance.Vote are creating the tools that everyone is going to need to build the digital democracies of the future. Firstly, a bit about me and the Finance.Vote team. We're a group of scientists, mathematicians, creatives, and crypto natives, and we've been obsessed with crypto for the best part of the last decade. And we're building what we think everyone in the crypto space is going to need for the next phase of its development. So, over the last decade, I've been working in large institutions alongside researching cryptography and trying to understand blockchain. And inside those institutions, I've been working in governance. I've been trying to design systems that promote people to work together, to collaborate, learn as a collective. But it's not institutions in the real world that I'm interested in anymore. It's the new creative institutions of the internet that we've begun building. So I think these new institutions on the internet are going to need new tools and new technologies, and Finance.Vote is the organization and protocol where those new tools will emerge first. So we basically are a DAO that builds infrastructure for DeFi and other DAOs. And in order to frame where I think Finance.Vote fits into this broader picture, I want to zoom back to the beginning. And to begin our story, we need to talk about Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin Genesis block is basically our Big Bang event for the crypto space. Satoshi Nakamoto solved one of the hardest problems in computer science, and that allows us to build sources of truth that no one can argue with. And we know no one argues with it because they occur in the most adversarial, high stakes value exchange layer on the internet. Now, what Bitcoin has allowed us to create is money without the state. And that's what I think is basically the first and most important part of this era of crypto. Bitcoin, because it doesn't involve centralized power, is our protection mechanism against hegemonic power. It's the foundation that all of the crypto space has come from. Now, normally, money is controlled by those in power. Those with strong enough military to back up their banknotes, those with the infrastructure to keep the money printers running effectively. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. We need a system of account that facilitates the exchange of goods with one another. Money is the technology of collaboration. But without an alternative, we're stuck hoping that those in power use it wisely and don't take us into dark directions. Bitcoin is money without the state, and that's where our revolution begins. More recently, we've seen the next logical progression in where the crypto space is going. And the next logical progression is doing all the things with money that have typically been carried out by those kind of guys in suits in Wall Street. The kind of stuff we do with money, like borrowing, lending, and trading. And normally those guys in suits take their slice of the pie. Now, we've just built DeFi, and this allows us to do that kind of stuff without the middlemen. And we do that with smart contracts. This is what makes our money programmable. Now, anyone can make their own money, and anyone can play with it in any way that they want. We can make tokens. We can give them to people who contribute to a system. We can build markets without exchanges. And we can do anything that Wall Street can do, and probably more. We're just getting started with this, but it's starting to look like it's not the guys in suits who are going to build the next iteration of finance, it's the degens that are the future of finance. The next phase of the crypto space is when it starts to get a little bit more difficult. If you want to replace those guys in suits in the middle, you need governance. This is where the rules of the game aren't just fixed forever, they change to improve themselves, and they change to adapt to the environment. Governance is what moves us further away from the protocol and more towards the social layer. That's where digital democracies are born. At the heart of every decentralized technology that is more than just money, you're going to need a DAO. DAOs are decentralized organizations, and organizations are the building blocks of civilization. We're about to build new building blocks, and these things are going to form the heart of a digital universe that is opening up and creating a new paradigm in human coordination and collaboration. The important thing about DAOs is that they decentralize trust. They diffuse power among participants. And this is important because it means that DeFi can be decentralized. It gets rid of management keys. It turns multi-sigs into tokens. What's important is that you manage those tokens correctly. And we're building the tools that will allow people to pop up a DAO as quickly can people can pop up a website right now. So sooner or later, we're going to have a financial layer to the internet that is better than one than we have in the real world at the moment. It's going to be more agile, cheaper, more democratic, more open. Once we've got all that, then we can get to the real business of building technologies that are owned and governed by the people that use them. I really believe that every app will be replaced by a dApp. Every technology that extracts value from us and sells our data to the highest bidder will be replaced with platforms that distribute value and share it fairly among the network participants. Right now in the crypto space, we're just about building away from the protocol layer. So we're moving away from the protocol and we're building into the second layer of these systems now. And these second layer solutions is what's going to make blockchains viable for dealing with all the crazy things that we like to use the internet for. And they're going to make it so we can do that without costs spiraling out of control as we've seen recently. Once we've got that done, we can start plugging humans into blockchains. And it's humans that are going to power these new democracies of the future. Now, in order to get all this done, we need voting technology. Voting technology turns dialogue into numbers, and it's numbers that blockchains are best at. Specifically, I think quadratic voting can take human complex discourse and break it into easily verifiable signals that can fit into a blockchain. Here at Finance.Vote, we're building the technology that will allow us to turn conversation into action, discourse into code. We're building the consensus layer for DeFi, and that will allow us to build more than just dApps, but digital institutions that are truly governed by the crowd. We've just begun a process of rapid decentralization, whether we like it or not. The pandemic's basically shut down our offices and pushed us into remote work. Businesses without the ability to decentralize have shut down and may never come back. We've seen rampant money printing, which is starting to manifest as real inflation on the ground. And I think it's fair to say the need for a hard, scarce money is becoming more real by the day. Recently, we saw the crypto market top $2 trillion, and the crypto prophecies have started to become terrifyingly real. It's starting to look like we're going to need these technologies sooner rather than later. There is a problem though. The crypto space, as it is right now, is the Wild West. Permissionlessness comes at a cost, and DeFi takes the brakes off innovation. The previously gated world of centralized exchanges and traditional trading venues are all but dying. And now anyone with a computer can launch their own money and at least pretend to be building something real. So where does that leave us? Thousands of rug pulls a day, unfair token distributions, manipulated markets. And there's far too many projects with far too many tokens for anyone to rationally understand. I think this leaves us at the ape phase of our digital evolution. We're just discovering the tools that are the fire, clubs, and shelter of our new digital worlds. We're not just early, we're at the very, very beginning. Here at Finance.Vote, we're building a suite of dApps that will do for DAOs what Google and Microsoft have done with their application suites for meat space organizations. But decentralized organizations are very different from their real-world counterparts, and they need different tools to the ones that you'll find in the real world. There are no bosses in DAOs. They're open, permissionless organizations. If you don't like what you see, you can go to another one. You can go to several. The best DAOs will be creative institutions in the digital world. They will adapt, grow, and feed off the creativity of a distributed group of pseudonymous characters that can turn up when they want and do whatever they want. Some of those people will find a collective that is working on something they're interested in. They will build a relationship with people in a DAO. They will build things together that no one has ever imagined before. And this is where I think the really exciting next phase of the internet is going to be. In the decentralized world, the blockchain is your spreadsheet. Tokens are your money. NFTs are your identity. You will file memes, not reports. The tools that we're making are designed to build fairer solutions and bring a lawless order to the digital Wild West. Our dApp suite that we've been building for the last several months is pretty much on chain. And we're going to be talking quickly through what each of these dApps do. So we've got an auction system, and it's a system that is designed to find the fair listing price of tokens. It does that by iterating through price and supply over the course of about a day. We call this new auction mechanism the exponential token auction. The important thing about this is it bootstraps liquidity. So the ether that's collected throughout the auction can only move to a decentralized exchange, and it locks it there, ensuring that the creators of this market can't run off with those assets until the market has fully developed. In this system, there's no pre-sale allocation games, no staking to access. It's not a place to engineer a pump and dump. It's just open, permissionless price discovery. We've built a new version of this, which we call the binary search auction. And the purpose of this one is to discover the price of single assets, NFTs. And what this will do, it'll allow DAOs to not only purchase NFTs, but curate and sell them whenever they want. So price discovery of new digital assets is the foundation of what DAOs will need to do to manage their treasuries and bootstrap themselves into existence. So auction.vote is a launchpad, but fair. Next up, we've got our liquidity mining system. And this uses what we think is radical crypto economics to build new markets in a way that can actually be tuned by governance. And it's that last bit that's what's needed to effectively replace market makers with distributed liquidity providers in decentralized exchanges. The important thing here is, like many things in our system, it's designed to stop whales easily taking everything. It ensures that even small token holders can play market maker and ensuring a fair distribution of tokens over time. Yield.vote uses a combination of quadratic voting and Harburger taxes to broker the sale of protocol property. Owning a share of network emission is the property rights of the future, and this is the system that will bring it into reality. This is yield farming, but done right. Next up, we've got bank.vote. Bank.vote is not a bank. It's a trustless vesting and token storage system that distributes assets to network participants in a way that makes emission schedules predictable, trustless, and fair. It's also a decentralized payroll system that will allow people who want to work for a DAO to receive payment in a way that minimizes supply shocks to the market but gives them predictable payment over time. Building a big treasury is one thing, but spending it is another. And bank.vote streams money to people who bring value to the network, and it also effectively rug-proofs the economy, stopping less trustworthy actors ending the game before the other players are ready to stop playing. Next, we have markets.vote, which is our prediction market system, and it's designed to curate the crypto space. Around now, we have 100,000 tokens a year, but in the future, it'll be 100,000 tokens a day. Markets.vote builds curated lists on each of the chains in the multi-chain space, and it discovers what the best tokens are, and that's constantly sorted and reorganized by the network participants. And we do this by paying users to make predictions and select the best tokens. So it doesn't matter how many tokens there are, we'll always have the top tokens on each chain. In order to do this, it uses a decentralized identity system that forms Sybil resistance and implies an economic cost to swinging consensus. This, we think, is the foundation of futarchy, a prediction market-based governance paradigm that will encourage data analysis and discourse on the quality of decision making. Using this program, we will vote on beliefs, vote on values, and bet on beliefs. Next up, Influence.Vote. This is the first app in our second layer governance suite, and it uses both NFT and token-gated decision making to build high signal-to-noise dialogue about anything DAO participants want to talk about. This is decentralized content curation and will allow creators on the internet to turn their feeds into DAOs. This is the core of our sense-making system that will capture the desires of DAO participants and make sure token holders of any size are listened to and heard. These are our 5 dApps that make up our dApp suite so far. And that's not all we're doing. We're also building our way into the metaverse. And to do that, we've built a 3D world that will house our digital auctions. This is a shared space for our users who will populate it and make it their own. It's a venue for our partners to rent out, host parties, curate collections, and sell their goods. We imagine that each of our dApps will become the infrastructure for more elaborate and expanding digital worlds into the future. This is just the beginning, and where it goes, we've got no idea. So where are we going next? We've been a live DAO now for about 7 months, and we're coming close to the end of the first phase of our network, which we called Obelisk. We've got over a dozen dApps in our roadmap, but we plan on letting our users decide where we go next. And with that, we've built a non-linear roadmap, which our users are going to start directing us around very soon. By the end of this phase, the next one we call Pyramid, we'll be handing over all the power to the token holders by the end of it. And in the third phase, Starship, we expect the whole development trajectory to be completely out of our hands and going in directions we could have never imagined on our own. So we're building this kind of big decentralized organization, but doing so in a way that any other people can pick it up and use the tools we've created for ourselves. So we're paving the path to decentralization so that others can walk behind us. So in order to show people how this is going to work, we're going to be launching more DAOs from ourselves, from our organization in the future. And we're going to be using each of our tools in different ways that showcase the ways that they can be used across the internet. Importantly though, it's going to be the FVT holders that direct this all. We're going to be using our own applications and our own governance tools to give FVT holders a voice and showcase how DAOs can be built in the future. So in summary, we're not just about to enter a new phase in the evolution of the crypto space, but a new phase of humanity generally. That will be built around global and decentralized collaboration. We do this at a time when we need these technologies more than we ever have before. We need tools for collaboration in a world that's increasingly driven by platforms that profit from making us angry. Free speech is going to come under attack, but our technologies are unstoppable, censorship resistant, and decentralized. The future of the internet will be built on digital democracy, and by harnessing a work and collective intelligence of a vast pool of people, we will be able to build things that right now we consider completely unimaginable. So join a DAO, build a DAO, change the world.